ourselves and for future generations a new world order, a world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle.
This has proven to be a rather challenging essay to compose due to the vast and detailed subject matter. Though far-reaching, the subjects covered are all related. For clarity and to better grasp the understanding of this thesis, you should liken the following far-reaching content, connections, and associations to an enormous spider web, spread far and wide, but where all of the individual strands of these elongated webs ultimately lead to the middle and the center of Illuminism. Secrets of the Ages is the result of 6 years of extensive research into the esoteric and exoteric. The information contained herein is all sourced, documented, and verifiable. Though sweeping in scope, there are clear and concise connections, coincidences, and some immutable facts presented. It is for you to come to your own conclusions, but before you do, put aside your preconceived notions of history and belief systems and take a serious, objective look at the material presented. As stated earlier in Part 1, the adepts in secret societies treat humanity much like sheep. A document from the 25th anniversary meeting of the first Bilderberg Group, dated May 1979, entitled Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars, was found in 1986 in an IBM copier that had been purchased at a surplus sale. It is the product of a discipline called Operations Research, developed during World War II to attack enemy populations using tools of social engineering and psychological warfare. According to the document, the international elite convened at the first Bilderberg meeting in Holland at the Bilderberg Hotel in 1954 and decided to wage a quiet war against the American people with the goal of shifting wealth from the irresponsible many into the hands of the responsible and worthy few. Quote, "In view of the law of natural selection, it was agreed that a nation or world of people who will not use their intelligence are no better than animals who do not have intelligence. Such people are beasts of burden and stakes on the table by choice and consent." End quote. The goal is to establish an economy which is totally predictable and manipulable. The masses will have to be trained and assigned a yoke from a very early age. To achieve such conformity, the family unit must be disintegrated by a process of increasing preoccupation of the parents and the establishment of government-operated daycare centers for the occupationally orphaned children. This is accomplished through silent weapons, propaganda, and social engineering, applied in the media and schools. When the silent weapon is applied gradually, the public adjusts until the pressure becomes too great and they crack up. Therefore, the silent weapon is a type of biological warfare. It attacks their sources of natural and social energy and their physical, mental, and emotional strengths. The document says, and I quote, "The father must be housebroken. The advertising media see to it that he is pussy-whipped and taught that he either conforms or his sex life will be zero. The female is ruled by emotion first and logic second, too starry-eyed to see her child will be a wealthy man's cannon fodder or a cheap source of slave labor." The writer concludes, "This mindless school of jellyfish, father, mother, son, and daughter, become useful beasts of burden." Members of the many secret societies hold these common beliefs. One common belief is that they, the adepts, who are of strong intellect, when confronted with a dilemma, keep their composure and attempt to solve the problem by assembling facts to solve the issue, while the vast majority of humanity, who are without mature minds, when confronted with the same problem, become overwhelmed. The elect believe that the inferior masses must be led like animals. To the elect, humanity is a flock of ignorant, dependent cattle. Sheep who must be cared for and controlled, shorn and sacrificed because they are too stupid to rely upon themselves. This is the classic elitist worldview of all secret societies. The elect are taught the mysteries and the esoteric spiritual truths, while the masses of humanity are taught the exoteric interpretations. The elect are given the knowledge of the mysteries and are therefore known as the illumined or the illuminated ones, the guardians of the secrets of the ages. Over the ensuing millennia, temples were built in ancient cities to worship and sacrifice to the many gods. The temples also served as places where mystics who were believed to have the secret knowledge of nature, congregated with philosophers and high priests who formed religious schools. The Brotherhood of the Snake is the most important of these ancient groups, also known as the Brotherhood of the Dragon or as the Mysteries. The dragon and the snake represent wisdom. The father of wisdom is the light bearer, also known as Lucifer. The Mysteries worship Osiris, another name for Lucifer, which means bringer of light or the morning star. The ancients believe Osiris was a bright star that was cast down to earth, so the Mysteries view the rising sun as a representation of Osiris or Lucifer, the bringer of light. They also believe in blood ritual sacrifice to the many gods, such as Molech, Zen, Baphomet, Baal, and others. Modern secret societies, especially those practicing degrees of initiation, are really only one society with one purpose, a new world order. Although many disagree on exactly who will rule this new world order, they are working in concert to achieve it. The black nobility, the Vatican, Freemasonry, and other secret societies, such as the Jesuits, the Order of the Quest, the Knights Malta, Skull and Bones, the Jason Society, and the executive committees of the Royal Institute of International Affairs, the Council on Foreign Relations, the Bilderberg Group, and the Trilateral Commission. The real power men are almost always recruited from the secret societies of Yale, Skull and Bones, and Scroll and Key. Wolf's Head and Book and Snake at Yale are another pool the elect select from. Skull and Bones and Scroll and Key are also called the Brotherhood of Death, or the Illuminati. Both are connected to a parent organization in England known as the Group, or the Milner Group, at Oxford and All Souls College. Harvard yields some adepts as well from the secret societies known as final clubs. All of these adepts in all of the societies outwardly appear as Christians, Jews, or Muslims, etc., but they all worship knowledge and sacrifice to the gods of the mysteries to garner power and influence. Hollywood has been controlled and influenced by Masonic Luciferianism from the beginning. The heads of all the major studios in the Golden Age were Freemasons. So were the many stars and directors, from Clark Gable to John Wayne, D.W. Griffith to John Ford. From the beginning, Hollywood was steamy and violent, pushing the envelope in a country that still held high moral values. Over the decades, American cinema has steadily chipped away at morality with gusto, glamorizing crime, violence, and sex throughout the decades, rotting society to the very core in the process of providing what they argue is wholesome family entertainment. This is enhanced by a solid stream of Masonic Luciferian imagery, rituals, and symbolisms in films, music videos, magazines, and the world around us. A designed moral decay pervades all aspects of media and pop culture, from advertising to fashion, art, music, everything. With reality shows like 16 and Pregnant and Teen Mom flooding our TV and iPhones, can I Want to Be a Porn Star, Casual Sex Live, and Die with Dignity shows be far off? Today's New Age movement adds fuel to illuminate these Luciferian flames. Scientology, Satanism, Wicca, and witchcraft permeate pop culture in a sort of playful way on the surface, but it is far from a game. It is an agenda. Werewolves, vampires, and dark characters and anti-heroes are all the rage these days, isn't that true? Movies are dark, gothic, so are videos, and both chock full of Masonic Luciferian symbolism. In fact, many of these symbols have become mainstream and have been embraced by pop culture celebrities and fans without questioning its perceived harmless meanings. In only one generation, the popular use of the devil's horns has transcended from a heavy metal gesture to a pop culture salute, the symbol of a new age. What about that symbol, the devil's horns? It is a Masonic symbol signifying allegiance to Lucifer. Here is what Anton LaVey, who founded the Church of Satan on April 30th, 1966, wrote about satanic ritual sacrifice. Quote, Satanists will perform these rituals from time to time since people will inevitably wrong one another. The Satanists believe the blood, especially from a newborn child, held magical properties that would enable the energy to be heightened during rituals. Some covens believed that the infliction of sustained pain by the victim would greatly increase this energy. For instance, increasing the pain of an animal such as a goat would release adrenaline into the bloodstream, so when the animal's throat was finally cut and the blood drained into the ceremonial chalice, increased power could be extracted by drinking the blood mixed with certain drugs. End quote. Speaking of Anton LaVey, the Church of Satan has connections to the Temple of Set, which was consecrated on the summer solstice of June 1975 in Santa Barbara, California, by U.S. Green Beret Army Lieutenant Colonel Michael A. Aquino, who worked in Army intelligence. The Temple of Set was created in a black magic ritual. Aquino had joined the Church of Satan in 1969. The Temple of Set was founded by members of the Church of Satan who left that organization because of disagreements with LaVey. Between 1984 and 1985, there were reports of sexual ritual abuse at Jubilation Daycare, operated by Barbara Orr in Fort Bragg, Northern California. This case was investigated by Mendocino County Sheriff deputies. Eventually, some 400 pages of reports were submitted, but the DA declined to prosecute the case, resulting in no criminal charges filed against Orr. Considering the long history of complaints against the daycare center, one citing a child experiencing unusual punishment, resulted in Barbara Orr surrendering her child care license in 1984. In 1987, charges were twice filed against Gary Hambright, one of the Presidio daycare staff. Those charges were dismissed. Some of the parents to this day don't understand why their kids, who were older and had clear findings and recollections of being sexually molested and could identify their perpetrators, weren't called to testify. Were the prosecutors keeping their oath to the order? Could be. At that time, Michael Aquino was a lieutenant colonel in the Army Reserves and a member of Army Military Intelligence. He had been and is the leader of his own satanic church, the Temple of Set, for at least 20 years, and the U.S. Army was aware of it, but did nothing citing First Amendment freedom of religion rights. Aquino was investigated by the San Francisco police for child molestation allegations in 1987, while he was stationed at the Presidio Army Base in San Francisco. But once again, no charges. A Newsweek article, dated November 16, 1987, entitled "The Second Beast of Revelation, Claims of Satanism and Child Molestation," is typical of just one of dozens of news articles describing the case as it made national and international news. Interestingly, Aquino's mother, who is now deceased, was noted to be a Temple of Set high priestess and the owner of a building rented to an organization that helped families find daycare. As described in appellate documents, the San Francisco Police Department dropped their investigation in August of 1988. Many children from the Presidio Daycare Center entered therapy with Pamela Hudson, LCSW, who described her experience with these traumatized children and their ritual abuse in her published overview describing several cases, as well as a chapter in the book Treating Survivors of Satanic Abuse, edited by Valerie Sinison in 1994. Another source where this was briefly described is the Journal of Orthopsychiatry in April of 1992. The missing children, the children on the milk boxes. Over 400,000 children go missing every year. They're the kids on the milk boxes. Many of them fall prey to these evil Satanists who need their young blood for their rituals. It is true. But the Michael Aquino, Church of Satan, Anton LaVey, Hollywood rabbit hole goes even deeper. On record, actor Corey Feldman revealed to police that he was systematically sexually molested more than 2 decades ago by a film industry insider. Feldman named his alleged abusers, but police did nothing to investigate the crimes. Feldman recounted in graphic detail the sexual abuse he and the late Corey Haim endured at the height of their fame. He named their abusers as Ron, Tony, Burnham, and Crimson, all pseudonyms. Having already starred in Goonies, Feldman described how he descended into a drug haze in the company of a man in his early 20s who would sexually exploit him for years. Feldman recounted, and I quote, "During a lunch break for the cast and crew, and Haim, innocent and ambitious as he was, allowed himself to be sodomized. The man who abused Haim on the set of Lucas now walks around one of the most successful people in the entertainment industry, still making money hand over fist," according to Feldman. Study Thelema and the Book of the Law by Aleister Crowley. This is what these evil Satanists do. Aleister Crowley was initiated into the highest levels of Freemasonry and was a high priest of the Golden Dawn Masonic Order. When describing the best victim for a blood ritual sacrifice, Crowley wrote, quote, "A white male child of perfect innocence and intelligence makes the most suitable victim."